shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
And a few showers showing up on dual Doppler 5000 radar right now. We'll talk about what the best chance of rain will be today.
Due in court, the woman accused of shooting two attorneys in downtown Raleigh will be in front of a judge today. What we are uncovering about her background. And nail-biting win. The Carolina Hurricanes win in overtime, putting them a step closer to snagging a spot in the Stanley Cup final. The highlights and when they are back on the ice. And they did it on the road in Montreal. Good for them. Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30. Great to have you with us on this Tuesday, even though it feels like a Monday. Hope you had a wonderful long holiday weekend. It's back to work and back to school. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner also back to work as well. And once again, we have this cut and paste of rain showers moving across the area.
We do. We still have a couple more days of this pattern. It's not going to be quite as wet as it was over the weekend, but we'll still have those afternoon and evening thunderstorms. And even this morning, we have this boundary you can see from the Triangle area stretched back towards Charlotte. So we'll zoom in here. We're seeing some showers from Smithfield to Clayton there in Johnston County, a little bit of that in southeastern Wake County as well. So it's light and patchy out there, but in some places you might run into some wet roads or some damp streets. We are looking at our stationary front continuing to be in our vicinity, but a little farther north. So it's going to be warm. We're going to be on the really warm side of this front. And so that means more isolated to scattered afternoon and evening thunderstorms. We could see a few breaks in the clouds close to lunchtime. It's very cloudy this morning, and that could give a bit more fuel to the atmosphere for some of those scattered storms. We do have, of course, some low clouds in spots this morning and mostly cloudy skies. A southwest wind at around 11 miles per hour, and our temperature at 73 heading out the door. We'll climb to 85 this afternoon, but temperatures begin to drop off a little bit as we see that chance of showers and thunderstorms picking up later on in the afternoon. Just a 30% chance Wednesday, 40 Thursday. It is a bit drier for the weekend and cooler too. We'll talk about how long that will last coming up. Renee?
Elizabeth, thank you. Today, the woman accused of shooting two lawyers outside the Wake County Courthouse in Raleigh will make her first court appearance. Police say the suspect, Gwendolyn White, is connected to them through a civil case. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is live in downtown Raleigh this morning. Heidi, this case from Roseville is not the suspect's first experience in civil court.
Renee, that is exactly right. In fact, Gwendolyn White has a long history with the Wake County justice system in general. In fact, she's filed 16 civil cases in the last 17 years. Now go ahead and take a look at this video. This is White in custody after investigators say she shot two attorneys outside the courthouse in downtown Raleigh on Friday. Really jarring video there. Now, we combed through both her social media and her court records. Many of her social media or Facebook posts aired her grievances about the care of her now deceased mother and disputes with neighbors. Now, an attorney who represented White in one of those civil cases we mentioned spoke with WRAL this week, sharing that she called police on her neighbors many times. Now, his take is that it was untreated mental health issues that led to this. But because White never committed a crime, her mental health was never addressed through the court system. As far as we know, she never had a mental health evaluation. Now, today's court appearance will start at 1:30. She will hear the charges against her and will figure out her next steps. Of course, we will have a reporter in the room. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in downtown Raleigh.
Heidi, thank you. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll look into how this case is shining a light on the violence and threats that lawyers face and the safety precautions they are being urged to consider. It was a late night for Canes fans, but it ended on an exciting note. The Canes are now up 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Final after an overtime win in Game 3 in Montreal. Andrei Svechnikov scored just over 14 minutes into the extra period to give the Canes that 3-2 win. This is the second overtime win in a row for the Canes after they won Game 2 by an identical 3-2 score. Svechnikov spoke after the game about how important his production on the ice is to put the Canes on top.
You know, you gotta get on a score sheet somehow, and I think we just playing good as a line. You know, we creating a lot, and today we created lots of chances. We could have scored more than one goal, but you know, it's just the way it goes, and we know more goals coming for us.
Game 4 of the series will be tomorrow night in Montreal. Puck drop is at 8 p.m. Starting today, you have 3 more chances to attend a community forum on the WakeMed Atrium deal. WRAL's Ali Calabar joins us live from WakeMed in Raleigh this morning. Ali, there are still a lot of questions about this deal.
Renee, we're still working to find out a timeline and how this could affect healthcare statewide. Now, WakeMed officials say Atrium Health's proposed takeover could improve access to healthcare and affordability. Now, local and state leaders are skeptical about the deal, saying it could drive up prices statewide. Now, state leaders also shared concerns about how quickly the healthcare systems were trying to move forward with the deal, not allowing others to propose a partnership. Earlier this month, WakeMed got an unsolicited proposal from UNC Health. For now, WakeMed says it's upholding its pairing with Atrium. Now, WRAL spoke with WakeMed president and CEO last week. He says skeptics should take a closer look at what the deal could mean.
I think many spoke before they knew. I know no one that's spoken that has learned all the details about it.
Now, there's about 2 more months until Wake County commissioners revisit the deal. As for today, that listening session is at 6 tonight, and it is at the WakeMed Conference Center on Falls of Noose Road. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
We are learning more about the tragic and sudden passing of NASCAR driver Kyle Busch. The 41-year-old died after his family says he developed sepsis while training in North Carolina for an upcoming race. Sepsis is what happens when your body has an extreme response to an infection. In this case, we're learning it was caused by severe pneumonia. Dr. Francis Casteller treats sepsis cases in the UNC Rex ICU. He explains the medical emergency that happens when the body has an overactive response to an infection.
In layman's terms, your immune system basically goes haywire, and it can it can cause multiple organs to malfunction or dysfunction or even fail. If you recognize the signs and symptoms, to sort of activate these alerts so that providers can start treatment as soon as possible.
It's also worth noting that Kyle Busch had mentioned he was not feeling well in the weeks leading up to his death. Today, the North Carolina ACLU is holding a rally against the expansion of ICE. A lawsuit filed by the organization claims there are plans to reopen the Rivers Correctional Facility in Winton, North Carolina, as an ICE detention center. The ACLU is demanding that state lawmakers publicly condemn any plans for the expansion of ICE in North Carolina. Today's rally starts at 2 in the afternoon at the North Carolina General Assembly. This photo circulating online is raising concerns about children and teens riding recklessly on e-bikes. We have talked about other Wake County towns and cities. Now people living in Fuquay-Varina say it is getting out of hand, and they are sharing this photo as proof. People claim kids have been blowing through red lights and stop signs, even in some cases hitting pedestrians. 16-year-old Colton Lavette says he crashed into a car while he was riding his e-bike home from school. He says these bikes are everywhere among teenagers, and he hopes riders think twice before pushing the limits.
Be cognizant of your impact on others when you're riding them, because I was going a little over the speed limit, and I think now after the fact, like, what if that wasn't a car? Like, what if it was a person that was behind the blind hill and I just hit them going like 50 miles an hour?
Colton says his mom supports a new ordinance that goes into effect next week in Holly Springs. Under the new restrictions, pedestrians will have the right of way on sidewalks, side paths, and greenways. E-bike riders will not be allowed to go over 15 miles per hour. We've reached out to the town of Fuquay-Varina to see if it plans to propose similar legislation. As of this morning, we have yet to hear back. Today, the Wake County School Board is set to revisit its drafted AI policy ahead of its potential launch in the fall. The proposed policy puts a definition behind generative AI and emphasizes optional training for educators on AI literacy. Earlier this month, a Wake County high schooler called on the school board for tougher AI policies after she was accused of cheating by using artificial intelligence to complete an assignment. She says the school district needs to set a clear standard for detecting AI use.
These AI detectors have been proven to give both false positives and false negatives. They are agreed on by experts to not be suited to be used as sole evidence against students. Rules need to be put in place to protect students from accusations backed up by these technologies.
A vote on this policy is not set for today or anytime soon. Today's meeting is just a discussion. It starts at 1 p.m. Lawyer safety. The shooting of 2 attorneys in downtown Raleigh is shedding light on the threats legal professionals face, the tough safety decisions lawyers in our area are making. And honoring heroes, how people in the Triangle spent Memorial Day remembering those who lost their lives fighting for our country.
And our wet weather pattern continues. We have a good chance of afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. We'll see that through Thursday before we actually start to dry out a little bit for this coming weekend. I'll explain coming up. 444, and we're watching dual Doppler 5000 radar this morning. Couple of isolated showers still lingering from last night. One of those not too far from Fayetteville, and another getting ready to push into Moore County. But over here across parts of Johnston County, we're seeing some showers. Clayton, Smithfield, kind of moving out of Wake County. So likely to be a few isolated showers this morning. We're going to keep it at around 20% up until lunchtime. And then later in the afternoon, with a little break in the clouds, we should end up seeing a better chance of some thunderstorms developing. It is gray. It is damp. You can see the wet streets here in Durham from last night's rain, and our temperature is warm. It's very, very muggy, of course. The mugginess really kicked in over the weekend. 73 in Southern Pines and Durham, 73 Goldsboro and in Raleigh. So low 70s everywhere you go. Watch out for some puddles out there this morning. Walking the dog, it'll be a warm afternoon in the mid 80s, and walking the dog this evening, there could be a few scattered storms. Renee?
Elizabeth, thank you. The shooting of 2 attorneys in downtown Raleigh is shining a light on the violence that lawyers and legal professionals face. The American Bar Association says threats against lawyers have been rising. In 2022, 42-year-old attorney and Raleigh resident Patrick White was shot and killed by a client. In 2018, a man drove by the Dysart Willis offices on Blunt Street and fired shots into the building. Durham attorney Sherry Patrick says she's had to make strategic decisions to protect herself.
I do not work in the same county where I live on purpose because of what I do.
The American Bar Association says lawyers need to secure both their offices and their homes. Patrick says she's already done that, including with panic buttons and bear spray. Memorial Day events across our area celebrated the men and women in the military who gave their lives in service to this country. In Cary, people gathered at the Herb Young Community Center. The event featured musical tributes and remarks from local veterans. We spoke with a retired Coast Guard commander who says the weight of Memorial Day hits him every year.
It always sobers me to think about Memorial Day and remember people who haven't had the great life that I've had in Cary, North Carolina. That because they sacrificed at a younger age in all the conflicts that we've had.
He said he believes all veterans carry that same burden, and they stand united in remembering those we have lost. High gas prices are following drivers as they return from their Memorial Day travel. According to new numbers from AAA, the national average is now $4.49 a gallon. It is the second highest price on record around the Memorial Day holiday. Now, prices could come down soon if an agreement is reached to end the war on Iran. A potential deal could include reopening the Strait of Hormuz. It has been effectively shut down since the start of the war in February. Let's take a look at gas prices this morning. According to AAA, the average for a gallon of gas here in Raleigh is around $4.15. In Durham and Chapel Hill, it is $4.24, and in Fayetteville, you're looking at $3.94 a gallon. News releases concerning the charges, convictions, and sentencing of January 6 defendants have been purged from the Department of Justice's website. The DOJ is calling information about the prosecution's, quote, partisan propaganda. It has also created a fund totaling nearly $1.8 billion to compensate President Trump's allies who feel they have been unjustly prosecuted. January 6 protesters have not been excluded from the list of eligible recipients. Changes to trash collection in Raleigh take effect today as the weather heats up for the summer. Solid waste crews are changing their schedule starting today. People are asked to have garbage, recycling, and yard waste carts on the curb by 6 a.m. Now, some pickups could be delayed when the temperatures get dangerous. We'll be in the 80s today, but silver lining toward the end of the week, we'll start backing off from the heat, so that's good news. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with more good news in the sense that we could see more rain today. Yesterday afternoon, saw the downpour that came in Raleigh. That was really nice to see. Everybody's like, look at
Yes, we did have some widespread rain. We're going to talk about some of those rainfall totals in just a little bit. We start off with dual Doppler 5000 radar this morning. A little band continues this morning. It's very light and patchy, nothing heavy like we saw yesterday, but you could see it in some places, especially Johnston County seeing it right now. We have our stationary front that's been with us now for 4 or 5 days, and up underneath it is where the warmth is. It's cooler on the other side of it, say up around Washington, D.C. So because we're on the warm side of it, it is going to be another warm day. We'll be back into the 80s today. Here's a look at Futurecast, and we'll roll it on through 7 a.m. An isolated shower is possible this morning, but we won't see a whole lot of rain until later on. After lunchtime, there could be a few breaks in the clouds, and when that happens, the Earth's the sun's energy begins to energize the atmosphere and give it the potential for some scattered storms. There's 5 o'clock, a little bit of scattered activity. It increases a little bit as we get into the late evening and overnight, and then we're back at it again on Wednesday. So 7-day rainfall. These are our 2-day rainfall totals. This is a look at what we've seen, of course, the last couple of days, and as much as around 2+ inches for parts of the Sandhills. Right there near Clinton, it was about 3 inches, near Goldsboro 3 inches, but from the Triangle area northward, it was a little bit lighter, anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches to Durham northward, only about 1/10 of an inch. And so we didn't see equal amounts of rain, which is pretty typical for a summer pattern, which is pretty much what we're in. So we'll see that again today, Wednesday and Thursday. And then after that, our chance for rain and our temperatures will all start to back off. Right now it is 73 with a southwest wind at 11 with very, very muggy air mass in place, feeling like summer with temperatures heading out the door in the low 70s. And we'll be in the mid to upper 80s for this afternoon with the humidity. It just feels very steamy out there. Our normal high is 82 and we'll be above that through Thursday. And then temperatures begin to drop and it should be a pretty comfortable weekend. Not only will we see the temperatures drop, but the muggy meter starts to fall as well. So just feeling more comfortable once we get into the weekend. Look at those temperatures in the mid 70s. That's going to feel great. We'll talk a little bit more about how much rain is headed our way this week coming up.
Video games and horror, an official launch trailer for a different version of 007. Plus, a Halloween filled with sinners. Your Hollywood Minute is just ahead. Plus, big wins, stars shining at the American Music Awards. Who took home the major awards? A game based on a massive movie franchise. Plus, it's never too early to start thinking about Halloween. David Daniel has those stories and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
What the hell going on? Oh, we heard tale of a party.
Sinners is headed to Halloween Horror Nights. This year's Universal theme park immersive haunted houses will include Club Juke from the Oscar-winning film. You can try to survive the night beginning August 28th at Universal Orlando and September 3rd at Universal Hollywood.
Bond is immature and reckless. Headstrong. Thrill-seeking.
Video game thrill seekers, take note. The official launch trailer is out for 007 First Light. The game is an origin story for the world's most famous spy, following James Bond through the MI6 training program. 007 First Light comes out Wednesday on PS5, Xbox, and PC.
The reason we could do what we did was because that dog could perform.
What's the Story, Wishbone? Traces how a little dog with a big imagination brought classic literature to life for kids. The documentary about the award-winning show airs on public television stations beginning Wednesday before landing on digital and VOD platforms June 10th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Music artists and stars brought the dazzle at last night's American Music Awards. Rapper and actress Queen Latifah hosted the star-studded night. Many stars took home big awards for their musical contributions. K-pop group BTS won Artist of the Year, and they took home Best Male K-pop Artist. And it was also a big night for Billy Idol. The legend won the Lifetime Achievement Award. This week, Raleigh Country Club will play host to some of the stars on the PGA Tour. They will play against some stars of the past in the UNC Health Championship. This unique blend makes the event a truly special experience. This year's event supports North Carolina's first freestanding children's hospital. It starts Thursday and runs until Sunday. Coming up at 5 in the courtroom. Today, the woman accused of shooting 2 attorneys in Raleigh will be in front of the judge. What we are uncovering about her background. Looking for feedback. You have more chances to give your thoughts on the WakeMed Atrium deal. The questions people are still asking. Plus, copper thefts. A man is accused of stealing from 2 solar farms in Nash County. How these types of crimes are on the rise across our state.